What is good, Nim fam? Welcome back, and I've dusted myself off after a horrific game week to bring you my transfers and team selection for Game Week 4, so let's get into this. Before we tackle that, here's how my Game Week 3 points went, and I wasn't expecting a clean sheet from Palace, and I didn't get one. My defence has been solid in previous weeks, but only Chilwell managed to bring anything home this week with a clean sheet. In midfield, I will need to have a shake-up here, so stay tuned for my transfers, but Mbeumo came in for Eze as my only transfer for Game Week 3, and it was an absolutely nothing move in the end, at least for the moment. Let's hope it's going to get better moving forward. Mitoma falling flat. Frustratingly, my players who returned are the players I'm looking at to remove to free up some cash, so more of that in just a moment. Up front, Haaland as my captain, got a goal despite missing a penalty. That has happened to me for 2 weeks in a row now. Salah last week, Haaland this week. Can you actually believe it? And I'm so annoyed because I decided to play Pedro last minute and take Udogie out of my defence and put Pedro in. And of course, Udogie is sitting there smiling at me with his 12 points, first on my bench. Pedro coming on for those few minutes, doing absolutely nothing. Okay, he did change the game did look better, but I can now see what RDZ is saying about Pedro. Doesn't look like the finished article, and I think he will get rotated often. So considering all of that, Pedro has to go. And all of that means I got 42 points, a very poor week by my standards. I was expecting it to be low, to be honest, due to me rolling for more information and not jumping on any of the bandwagons. It would have been a little bit better for me just to have jumped on one of those and kind of gone with the flow and hope for the best. Just because I didn't expect it to hurt quite as much as it did. I'd forgotten how much of the pack is stacked up at this point in the season. I'm just clinging on to staying into the 1 million club at the moment and hoping these transfers that I'm about to make will help going forward. So with all of that, let's look at my possible transfers of Game Week 4. This is how my team is currently lining up, and the main problem I have here is I have no money in the bank to sell and upgrade Pedro. So since Saka is on penalties, I'm looking to lose one of Salah or Rashford to Maddison. And then it really comes down to if I think Rashford will score more away at Arsenal than Salah will against Villa at home. Now, I won't be captaining Salah for the foreseeable, but with so many good budget options, it does mean that I can afford to keep him. So he's really not as easy a sell as you might think. When you own him and you look and you can see that he's been returning every week, where some other options like Rashford, for instance, have blanked a couple and then returned in some, it's really tough to kind of move him on. Salah looked much better when Darwin was on the pitch, and with Klopp seeing that, will he decide to start both of them as a combination in the next match? That said, selling Rashford against Arsenal with an already shaky defence could also hurt. As an Arsenal fan, I really do like having some attackers against my team when playing FPL, because it at least feels like if Arsenal lose, then I might get something out of the game. So yeah, this one really is a tough one. I am also considering Foden or Sterling instead of Maddison, but it just feels like everything is going through Maddison at Spurs at the moment. He looks like a nice long-term option. Fitness allowing, of course. I haven't ruled out the -4 though, to maybe lose Mitoma if I free up a bit of that cash ahead of his tougher fixtures for one of the later two discussed in Sterling or Foden. That then means I will likely move Pedro to Jackson. Look, I'm not convinced by Jackson's tap-in. I watched the match. He still looks like he's got a long way to go. Almost similar to Pedro in a way, but Chelsea's fixtures are just a bit too hard to ignore, aren't they, really? With Watkins being a million more pretty much, I may look to target Watkins a bit further down the line. However, I do feel like Watkins is fixture proof, so if any of you guys are still holding him, I think you're going to be in a tough situation like I am with Salah on whether to lose Watkins for Jackson. I think I may take the punt on Jackson just based on those Chelsea fixtures and hope that because he scored one goal, now he has broken that duck and he is about to go mad. I also may have a keeper problem on my hands soon. Henderson is signed for Palace, which could mean rotation between Johnson and Henderson. I have Turner to cover if need be. I'm hoping to push this one down the road a little bit if I can get away with it. Before moving on to how my transfers shape up for my team in Game Week 4, this feels like a good time to mention my sponsors of this video, fantasyfootballfix.com, where you can track the world's best FPL managers live with push notifications the second they make a transfer, so head on over today and check it out. Link is in the description below. Okay, so my team could look like this for Game Week 4, using my 2 free transfers to move Rashford to Maddison and Pedro to Jackson. Of course, this could be Salah out instead. I am going to try and hold off on any transfers with the Carabao Cup this midweek if I can. The Rashford, Pedro to Jackson, Maddison move gives me 0.2 wiggle room, so hoping to see Tuesday out at least on this one. I'd advise you all to do the same with transfers this week. Hold if you can. They should be playing second string teams, but you just never know, really. And of course, do let me know what you would do here with my team. Would you sell Salah ahead of Rashford, and would you buy Maddison at all, or would you go for maybe Foden or Sterling instead? Leave me a comment below. And of course, it is good to be back. If you're enjoying the video, please do like and subscribe. Join the Nim fam, you're really helping me out. Until next time, Nim Free out.